The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. What men can do, women can do and do it better. I always tell you, this revolution, for it to be completed, we need women to join. Women, our place is not only in the kitchen. We can equally make sure that this freedom we are fighting for become a success. We saw what the Namibian president is doing, and we saw what our all-in-all Captain Ibrahim Traore is doing. Now the women are saying, we have to join this fight. So the Tanzanian president said that if Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are trying to have economic sovereignty, so they want to print their own currency to be independent, so that they wouldn't be using whatsoever CFA franc printed by somebody forcing us to use it in Africa, then they also have to do same. They have to do same. The Bank of Tanzania have announced a ban on the use of US currency. The American dollar that Donald Trump is fighting to make sure that everybody in the world uses it. Tanzania is saying, lie for what? You cannot force us to do this. It must not be your interest. Africa also have its own interests. African countries bans use of dollar, euro, others in domestic transactions. Tanzania has officially outlawed the use of foreign currencies in domestic transactions, a sweeping measure aimed at reinforcing the local currency and tightening control over its financial system. The Bank of Tanzania announced the decision on May 2nd, confirming that all payments for goods and services within the country must now be made in Tanzania shillings. The new rules, which took effect on March 28, prohibit business from setting, advertising, or quoting prices in foreign currencies such as the US dollar or euro.
Kenyans want to pay for Tanzanian goods in dollars. Tanzania wants to pay for DRC goods in dollars. Egypt wants to pay. Why are we bringing dollars in the middle of our trade?
The US dollar is now starting to be banned in certain countries. Now this means in these specific countries, you cannot use US dollars anymore. They will look at that currency and it is not a valid currency. It will be the equivalent of trying to buy things with monopoly money. And they say the reason they're doing this is because they'd like to break away from the US dollar and have their own currency more valuable.
Tanzania and India have taken a bold step to reduce their dependence on the US dollar in trade between the countries. The two nations have signed a new bilateral trade settlement arrangement that allows them to use their own currencies, the Tanzanian shilling and Indian rupee, in transactions. This move will help them avoid the challenges of US dollar shortages that have plagued many African countries, including Kenya, Egypt, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Ghana, and Zambia. These countries have faced difficulties in paying for foreign debts, essential goods, and industrial inputs due to the scarcity of the US currency. The US dollar has been the dominant currency in international transactions for decades, giving the US government enormous power and influence over the global economy. The US has used this power to impose illegal sanctions on African countries that it perceives as threats or need to be disciplined, such as Zimbabwe, Sudan, Central Africa Republic, DR Congo, Libya, Mali, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Somalia, and Eritrea. The US has also benefited from lower borrowing costs and higher demand for its assets due to the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency. However, the dollar's dominance is facing increasing challenges from other currencies, especially the Chinese currency. China has been promoting its currency as an alternative to the dollar in trade and investment with its partners, especially in Asia and Africa. China has also signed currency swap agreements with several countries to facilitate bilateral trade and reduce exchange rate risks. Tanzania and India are following the example of other African countries that have sought to diversify their sources of foreign exchange and reduce their reliance on the US dollar. For instance, Angola has signed currency swap agreements with China and Brazil to facilitate trade and investment. Nigeria has also established a currency swap deal with China to boost its naira and ease its dollar demand. India is one of Tanzania's biggest trading partners, with data from the Indian High Commission in Dar es Salaam putting the value of trade between the countries at $4.5 billion, about Tanzanian shillings 10.4 trillion, during the year ending March 2022. By using their own currencies, Tanzania and India will enhance their trade relations and protect themselves from external shocks.
Countries officially announced they will stop using the U.S. dollar for trade. And this could be just the beginning. Trump's relentless tariffs, sanctions, and reckless spending have weakened the dollar's strength. He may have once believed his policies would make America stronger, but now those very policies are pushing America out of the global financial spotlight. If the dollar loses its status as the global reserve currency, inflation will soar, prices will rise, and the purchasing power of ordinary Americans will decline. Your savings could lose value and your cost of living may skyrocket. Worse yet, the world is moving on without us.
Our leaders, we are sitting in Africa here, yet everything of ours is done in the United States dollar. When you hear the president himself speaking, he calls in the United States dollar. Everything is dollar, euro, pound. And when they finish, they expect that the local currency should be strengthened. Why won't it be falling? How can we live here and our currency, our businesses are determined by somebody else's currency? And we are not saying that to be the reason to which Africa is not progressing. We are living in Africa. Yet Africa, everything is foreign. They have made us to believe that way. And this is a bold move. This is what we are expecting our leaders to be doing to make sure we get Africa to where it's supposed to be. And this is what Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are fighting for, that the leaders do not understand. We cannot say we are sovereign, yet economically we are not sovereign. If we continue to be doing business transactions and everything in the foreign currency, it means we are not sovereign. Why should we be doing everything here in Africa in another man's currency? We are building, we are buying, we are selling, we are eating. Everything is in foreign. Even today, you come into our respective African countries and there are schools that are charging fees in foreign currency. And our leaders are watching all these things. Can you go to these people and say because you are from Africa and you've set up an African school, you will do that? Or because it is an African market, you will sell in your own currency? No. So why have we allowed these people the opportunity to be doing everything they want to do to us? And when they treat us bad, we sit here and we say these people disregard Africans. It is we that have given them the upper hand to always manipulate and do everything that they want to do to us. These bold decisions are what we are looking for from our leaders. That everything must be African. If they are coming into the continent, everything must be African. Even BRICS is doing everything possible to make sure that its members will trade in their local currency. So why is it that we allow somebody to use his currency to dominate the world in order to generate revenue? These people are using this dollar thing to enrich themselves. And we expect that all African leaders will implement this thing so that we will stop having our currencies depreciating. And that is why we are calling for all Africans to unite under one umbrella. We cannot have gold here, yet our currencies are not heavier. Those who do not have it, currencies are heavier than us. This doesn't make sense. And this narrative is what we are fighting for to change in Africa. We are expecting that our leaders will start doing the right thing and stop talking. Talk doesn't give anything to Africa. Africa needs bold decisions. Like Tanzania, like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. This is the only way Africa can be free. This is the only way we can be sovereign. This is the only way we can fight for everything that belongs to us. This is beautiful. There is no one that can save the African if we do not stand up for ourselves and save ourselves. We are the only ones that can fight. And if this will be a successful one, we need leaders who are bold that can lead us to this freedom. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, East Africa, and in Tanzania.